Okay, clutch switch is wired. We're picking up where we left off yesterday. Bridged the gap there, fed the wire over. I have not tidied anything up yet because I want to make sure stuff works before I do that. So we're in IMPA right now looking in the DME, and as I press the clutch pedal to the floor, we see a clear notification that it's going in. So that's a really good sign that that's working. If I go on the brake too, then our brakes light up. I'm not sure what e-start is, electronic start. I don't think it's gonna start, but let's, no. And if I turn the key, I'm not getting, once I turn the key off, of course we lost communication, but we should be able to come back from that. Let's look at analog values. 1, we get battery voltage, engine RPM, coolant, speed, air mass. Oh yeah, that's throttle angle. So DKP angle, bottom left. So I'm gonna move my foot in the most linear way I possibly can. There's like 3/4, 7/8. Right at the end, it really shoots up. That's kind of cool. Look at analog values 2, which is F4. Just engine roughness per cylinder, but it's not running. There's obviously more coding here if it's still a non-start situation. And what's more concerning is in ISTA, I had 54 codes. I cleared all of that, come back, there's 10 codes, and it's still identifying itself as an automatic and looking for an automatic, an EGS, an electronic gearbox module. So somewhere there's something that still thinks this car is an automatic. Hey, frustrating day after the last clip. So one, we've got a really dirty lens. I'm gonna talk for a minute, so we'll get that cleaned up. I'm gonna head out here so I can talk at normal volume. Anyways, not able to get the 545 started yet today. I finished wiring the clutch position sensor and tested that, still a no start situation. Realigned the DME to make sure to learn new variants in IMPA. And still no start. I have codes in ISTA about a communication error. The transmission ECU is not communicating. Well, of course, it shouldn't be looking for that. 1, 2, it doesn't exist. So the fact that it's still complaining about not having contact with it tells me that there's some coding problem somewhere that says, hey, I'm looking for a module that doesn't exist. Well, stop looking. You shouldn't be looking for that module. So I went through the CAS, the LMA, CCC, ARS, active roll stabilization. I went through a ton of body modules today in NCS Expert, imported the trace files into NCS Dummy, looked at all those settings. Everything's coded for manual. I cannot find anything where it's still looking for a automatic transmission ECU. Super frustrating. I did everything I've done on the 550i and it's not working. Well, it's 2 years older and it's a 545, not a 550. So I have faith in my ability to figure out what the last piece of this puzzle is, but somewhere it exists. And every one of these we do is different. My dad's was the first one we did, of course, a 2006, an early 06 M5, so we had to fake out the build date. Then we did Eric's 2007, that black one, and that posed a few different issues, and we learned a bunch from that. No two of these are alike, is what I'm saying. They're all different. Even if it's kind of the same car, if the production date or the option codes are different, it's going to be different. This stuff changed on a almost weekly basis in Germany back then. So we'll figure it out. Back to work tomorrow. Sometimes having a fresh head, coming in just clean in the morning will help a lot. You can think with a fresh slate early in the day and figure out what needs to be done. So I've reached out to a couple people. Alex is one of them who's been extremely helpful from Long Beach. He kind of pioneered this on the E60 M5 and he's at a loss too. He's thinking about it. So we'll figure it out. I will update you tomorrow with any revelations. Yesterday, I did not talk about the Apple keynote. I'm going to do so hopefully somewhat briefly right now. So we saw the California Dreaming. Let me firstly talk about how cool it is that we have a company so committed to the beautiful state of California to include so many awesome songs, video clips, aerial shots. The iPhone thing was right downtown San Diego in the Coronado Bay Bridge. That was awesome to see. We saw Los Angeles, San Francisco, the desert, the mountains, all the beautiful places this lovely state has to offer. I think that was awesome. Moving on to the technology, the iPhone 13 Pro is another incremental update. Many of my friends were disappointed. Oh, I'm not going to upgrade. It's not enough new. I'm just thinking to myself, what do you want? What are you expecting to come out every year that is so much of an upgrade it's worth going to. And I've said this a million times, I'm going to make it 1,000,001. Gone are the days of adding landscape keyboard, of adding Bluetooth, of adding a speaker, of adding a high resolution display. Those days are gone. There are not features like that to add anymore. Technology, innovations happening in different ways, a little bit more slowly. So they're not going to be adding features that you look at and think, oh my God, I need that. We've wanted that for years. Not going to happen. As close as we're getting to that is ProMotion 120 hertz. The iPhone is way behind on that. Samsung's had that for a year and a half now. The iPad's had that for 2 years now or so. TVs have had it for 10 years. Why it took so long to put in a phone, I don't know. They're probably focusing energy on other places, or they wanted to really perfect that technology to refresh between that 10 and 120 hertz range in the name of battery efficiency. So that's probably the biggest thing from the Pro, followed by the additional or the improved cameras. We have a 6 times optical zoom range, ranging from 0.5x to 3x. That's super awesome. Cinematic mode, it's a toy, it's a gimmick, I'll never use it, but it's cool. People will use it, just not me. Terabyte option, useful, not for me. I am gonna go up to 512. For me, to me, an iPhone is a 10-month product. The battery lasts for 10 months. After 10 months, yeah, the phone still works, but now I have to plug it in every day at 5 p.m. And I hate that. Because when I first get the iPhone, I go to bed at night, it's on like 41%. I'm plugging it in like, damn, look how good this battery is. I only used 59% of it today. Yeah, well, by Christmas time, it's 32%, and by February, it's like 29%. And here I am now, this is the second charge today. So they just deteriorate so quickly. So the battery's a big reason to upgrade. 2, 120 hertz is huge. I have it on the iPad Pro. It's a noticeable difference. It's a must-have. And it's gonna be one of those things you get used to, and then you go back and you use the old iPhone, it just feels like old tech. Like if you pick up an iPhone 7 or something with square corners in the screen, it feels 100 years old. And I think that's how 60 hertz iPhones are gonna feel in 2 weeks. Once you're used to it, of course. The blue, Sierra Blue. Silverstone blue on an iPhone, that is cool, and I'm gonna get it for sure. I usually don't, not like it's a big secret, but I usually don't talk about the color. It's just a 3 a.m. on launch day kind of decision I make. This year I saw the Sierra Blue. It's like, yep, I don't care what the rest of the phone is. That is beautiful. I'm going to get it. I had a black 4, a black 4S. No, maybe I went with the white 4S, a white 5, and everything since then has been black with the exception of this guy. The 12 Pro is Pacific blue or Atlantic blue, whatever the blue is. I think it's Pacific, which is a really dark blue. It's nice, but my phone's in a case all the time. You don't see it. It just looks black. The light blue I'll be able to see since the cameras have grown even past like half the dimensions of the rear of the phone. You're definitely going to see that, and I'm super excited for that. Touch ID was something I wanted to see. Looks like that's going to be next year. The notch is smaller. That's a step in the right direction. The battery life is better. That's a step in the right direction. Performance is better. It's everything I expected and more from the new iPhone. We get an awesome color, we get under the hood improvements, we get performance and battery improvements, display improvements, big display improvements. I know that for some people, they would never notice that the refresh rate changes. I will. It's something I use just scrolling. I'm a bit of a power user, and then I want the phone to feel fast. And the worst thing about iOS are these delayed, slow, glitchy animations where everything has to be pretty and open and genie effect and all this bullshit that just makes the phone feel slow. And I think 120 hertz is gonna help a lot with that. Maybe that's just me, but it's something I've always felt and noticed with the iPhone. So I'm not gonna talk about the iPad. I'm an iPad Pro guy. The other one's square screens. Come on, it's not 2009 anymore. Apple Watch Series 7, I'm gonna be on a biannual schedule there. I had the 4, I have the 6 right now. I'm happy with the 6. The 7 does add significant display improvements. So I'll look forward to that in getting the 8 next year when that comes out. Otherwise, I'm very much looking forward to the 16-inch M1X, M2, whatever MacBook Pro launch sometime in October. With that, I'm going to sleep. We'll talk tomorrow on Thursday. Good night.